discussed last time. I think you
Ready in 10?
weren't there last time.
Good evening. My name is Vince Noblet, President of the Speedway Town Council. It is 6:04 p.m. We're an hour earlier than our normal time, just for the holidays. But I want to go ahead and introduce the council. On the far right is Grant Kleinhens.
Good evening.
Next to him is Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
Next to Eileen is David Lindsay.
Good evening.
Councilor. Far left, our treasurer,
Good evening.
Jacob Bladesdale. And also our counselor, Gary, and we got Pedigo.
Yeah, Gary Pedigo, correct.
Good.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. And Vice President, Gary Ricks.
Good evening. I'll just mention that it is December 28th. I didn't hear Vince say that on the start in, but just so everyone, it'll probably be on screen later, but just to be sure everybody knows.
We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is minutes for December 12th, 2022 meeting. These minutes have been distributed. If there's any changes or corrections to those minutes.
It was noted to me that I had the redevelopment commission appointments on here from the last meeting, but those were not made at the last meeting, so I've struck those out.
Okay, so they've been, basically everybody's aware of the changes that have taken place. So if there's no other discussion, I'm going to approve.
I'm not for sure. Can you go back and check to make sure the redevelopment authority? I don't recall doing that either.
I did. All the other ones were.
They were appointed?
Made. Yep.
Okay. That was a long meeting.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, it was.
Detailed notes.
Yes.
So all those in favor of approving the minutes with the changes as suggested by our Jacob Bladesdale, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Minutes approved. Next item on the list is boards and commission appointments. I guess the Arts Council is up first. Is there any
Mr. President, based on
nominations for
information we have at this time, we'd like to maybe move the Arts Council appointment. I'll just go ahead and say all of them. The Arts Council appointment, the Solid Waste Management appointment, and to next month's meeting.
Also fire merit also?
Yeah, thank you. Fire mayor as well. With that, I'll nominate Jared Allen to the Cable Commission. Move that we close nominations.
Second.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on Jared? Hearing none, I can call for a vote. All those in favor of Jared Allen for the Cable Commission signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the Redevelopment Commission. Got a list of, it would be 4 individuals.
Mr. President, I nominate Jennifer Miller.
Mr. President, I nominate Rhonda Schwartz.
Mr. President, I'll nominate Sean Harold.
I'll nominate Adam Young. I'll also nominate Chris Medor as a new member to the commission. Those other 4 that were first mentioned would be renominated, but Christine Medor is a nomination that I would make. And listening for others, and I don't hear any, so I'll go ahead and move that we close the nominations.
Second.
Second.
Okay, good. Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Jennifer Miller, Rhonda Schwartz, Sean Harold, Adam Young, and Christine Metter for Redevelopment Commission, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, I guess next up is School Board. Do I have a nomination for the School Board?
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Adam Gonzalez.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Tasha Powell.
Move that we close nominations.
Second.
Okay.
Mr. President, if I may, for just a quick minute, explain my nomination. Tasha Powell lives in my district, actually just around the corner from me. She has children in Wheeler, where she was a member of the Speedway parent-teacher group. I believe she was the past president. She may still be. But I think we are at a time in our town where our school board needs to represent the diversity that our schools have. Tasha is a few months away from obtaining her master's degree. She's an adjunct professor at IUPUI, and I believe she is highly qualified, and that's why it's my honor this evening to nominate her for the school board.
Okay. We got, I guess we can go ahead and vote on Tasha, if it's okay with the.
You have to call for, just rules are you have to
Yeah.
call for one name and people vote,
Yeah.
and then you call for a second name.
Well, the first name would be Tasha Powell. All those in favor of Tasha Powell, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify by
No.
saying aye.
You
Yeah.
call for the second candidate. Just the ayes for either one.
Okay. All those in favor for Adam Gonzalez, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Just to be clear, Adam Gonzalez was nominated for, or appointed.
Can you make public the vote for that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the vote was 3-2.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval of President and Vice President of Town Council for 2023.
Mr. President, a point of order, if we could move this to the end of the agenda.
Sure,
That way you have the honor of completing the agenda for the evening.
sure. Thank you. Can do that. Next on the agenda is approval of the agreement between the Town of Speedway and Speedway Professional Firefighters Association, Local 416, effective January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024. Grant?
Yes, thank you. So this is a 2-year proposed contract similar to the police contract that was approved earlier this month. Just a couple of the high points on page 4, the wages. We are proposing, the council approved a 4% pay increase in 2023 with a 3% pay increase in 2024. Those numbers are reflected in those new values there. The stack pays also are being modified. Battalion chief will increase $750 each year of that contract, so a total of $1,500. Captain will increase $500 per year of the contract, or $1,000 total. Both lieutenant and engineer will increase $250 per year for a total of $500 at the end of the 2-year contract. On page, the next page, you'll notice the Longevity scale has been updated and amended based on those increases. We've also got the pension basis for 23 and 24 noted there. And then there is a new paragraph under that says Public Employees Retirement Fund contribution. The council agreed that the town would contribute 3% towards the mandatory contribution under the Indiana Public Retirement System Plan in 23 and 3% in 2024. So that means they used to pay 6%, so the first year they will only pay 3%, the second year they will pay 0, and the town will pick that up. Those are the only, there were a couple other date changes to be consistent, and I think that's all that the contract includes. So with that, I think we recommend approval.
Thank you, Grant.
Something wrong?
Can you
I need
repeat
a
the
motion.
percentage again of the pay increase?
Of the pay increase? Did I get it wrong? 4% for 2023 and 3% for 2024?
I think that was police, right?
Yeah, that's police.
I think it was police numbers, right?
Yes, you're correct. It's 3 and 3.
Yeah.
That's my mistake. Sorry.
Okay.
It's my mistake.
For all the firemen watching in the union,
Sorry.
3% and 3%.
Yeah.
And then the perf was
3% per
3%.
year.
33.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry about that. The numbers reflect the appropriate percentage. I just wrote the wrong number
based
down.
on our
I apologize.
corrections of the original statements. I make a motion that we approve the contract with the Speedway Professional Firefighters Association, Local 416.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. President, I'd just like to add that you and I had the honor of sitting down with the representatives from the fire union over the past year with Grant and with Jacob. Lively debate, conversation. I don't think I'd call it debate, but it's very good conversation. And appreciated the time they took out and the time you and I took out, but Jacob and Grant to go over the contract with them and have good conversation to make sure our firefighters are paid for the hard work that they do to make our town safe throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I thought that they negotiated from a base, a well-informed base.
Yes.
And it was good to see that somebody took the time to understand the numbers and that basically we could talk with
Yes.
at that point in time instead of just guessing. And I appreciate that. I agree. I'll second your comments.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I would add, I think we talked a little bit about this at our last very long meeting when we approved the police agreement. We're in a different time than what we were 3 years ago or 10 years ago, and we're fighting, maybe not the right word, but we're competing for employees and keeping really good employees and attracting really good employees. And there's nothing, all of our employees are very important, and I can tell you there's nothing more important than our public safety, because without that, we start questioning whether we live here, along with schools and some other things. But I fully support this in our police agreement, and I'm excited that this pleased them. We've had a number of emails and so forth, knowing we were probably headed here, some thank yous from our staff. And it's really nice to get that, knowing that they truly appreciate the work that this body and Jacob and his department, obviously Grant's part of this whole process, and others, what everybody does to make this happen. So just want to make sure I point that out as well.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the contract between Town Speedway and Speedway Professional Firefighters Association, Local 416, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 0. Next is the approval of agreement between Town Speedway and Wessler Engineering for the Chapel Hill Lift Station and Force Main grant.
Yes, so this is we've discussed this in the past. This is a preliminary engineering report contract. What they will do is they'll take the flow data that we've received over the past, I think, year, but we've been working on that. They will evaluate that, then put together the cost estimates in what's called a PER, Preliminary Engineering Report. That document can then be used by the town to apply for financing from the Indiana Finance Authority or the State Revolving Fund. You need to have that PER in order to do that. They propose to have the draft PER, I believe it's March the 1st, and then the final document by the end of March. The reason for that is if we want to get in for consideration in the next funding year, and I'm not saying that we necessarily do, we may not be ready for that depending on those costs. We have to be ready by April 1 to apply for that financing, which is low interest, much lower than you can get on the open market, and that has to be done by April the 1st. The amount of the contract is not to an exceed amount of $32,000, and that will cover the review, analysis, cost estimating, and assisting with that PER, putting it together so that we can submit that. So with that, Jacob, I don't know, as the utility director and clerk treasurer, if you have any other comments?
Nope, I think you had it covered. This is related specifically to the lift station that we're looking at as part of the capital improvement plan. We're looking at some potential solutions to get water. Just as a reminder to folks, this is on the west side of 465. Our sewer district goes quite a bit further outside of the town limits of Speedway. So this is actually outside the town limits of Speedway. We're looking at getting water under 465 and just looking at what it's going to take to improve that lift station and kind of make sure that we're also looking downstream about where that water is going to go. So this is the study to look into that.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the agreement between the town of Speedway and Wessler Engineering regarding the Chapel Hill Lift Station and Force Main.
Do I have a second? Eileen? Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the agreement between Town of Speedway and Wessler Engineering for the Chapel Hill Lift Station and Force Main, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next on the agenda is the approval of the President and Vice President of Town Council for 2023.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate you, Mr. Vince Omelette, to be president of the town council again for 2023.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate David Lindsay. I know in the past he's been president, had a lot of communications with everyone across the table, and just a change. Not talk to him, so I don't know if you would accept that. So.
You can't reach the gavel right now, so you're safe.
Yeah. I move that we close nominations
Second.
of that position.
Yes.
Okay,
Same thing you did before.
yeah. I guess I'll just call myself out.
Okay, call yourself.
Vince Omelette for President 2023. Aye.
Say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Saying aye.
And then,
Next one would be David Lindsay for president. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I think it was,
So-
the vote was 3-2 in favor of Vince Omelette.
It's going to cause me marriage.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Gary Pettigo to be Vice President of the Council.
I'll second that.
And I move that we close nominations.
Second that also.
Okay. All those in favor of Gary Pettigo for vice president, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, 5-0. There you go, Gary. Okay, next is a report from council members. Grant, we'll start off with you.
The only item that I have is we did finish up our second annual food drive this early December the 16th was the last day. We received over 1,200 items, which was about 100% or 100 items more than last year, which benefited our two food pantries in town. I know the Lions gave some dollars to Sparky's, so our items went to the Speedway Baptist and St. Chris. The other item is the comprehensive plan will be moving to the next step. There potentially is a meeting that second week of January. The consultant might be coming to the council to give a quick update and report and share some information with you, and then the committee probably will meet that week, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, trying to finalize and kind of tighten down the goals and the objectives of that plan, what we're working towards, and then they'll move into more public input and engagement about those recommendations to get input for that final plan. The plan should be wrapped up by the first, maybe the middle part of February, and then we'll have to submit it to the OKRA to get their review and approval before it will be adopted by the council in probably March. That's all that I have for this evening as a report.
Jacob, is there anything you'd like to report to the town?
I didn't know I'd get called on. No, I think we're closing out the year strong, and I know utility bills just went out, and there's been some folks that might see some higher bills, because I know some people have been kind of slowly running water, so be aware of that. And just as a reminder, I always like to plug too, you can sign up for automatic bill payment. That's how I pay my bill. Makes it easy, it's free, so feel free to call our office and get set up that way.
Second that.
Yes, thank you.
No, I pay mine too.
It works well, yeah. Thank you.
Councilor Gary Pittigo.
Just want to wish everybody a happy new year and continue to be safe through these cold spells. We got some warmer weather heading our way. I think the next 5 days are in the 50s, maybe. So kind of nice, but we all know it's not going to last. So be safe going into 2023.
Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Nothing more to add than what he just said.
Okay. Councilor David Lindsay.
Happy New Year, nothing further.
Yeah. Vice President Gary Riggs.
I would like to make some comments regarding appointments. I think we have several people that submit their names and kind of a statement of interest and their experiences and the resume in some cases for positions. And we had a lot of really good candidates, if you will. And we interviewed some, and for certain positions, all the council talked to different folks that maybe some folks they didn't know, or saw an interesting resume or statement of interest. For me, what's really interesting to me is, with some of the boards and commissions that have a significant responsibility for spending tens of millions or millions of dollars, we like to see some experience. I like to see some experience of those people before we put them on those boards or commissions. And I think that there's still some open positions. I think there will be some other positions that might come open. And so aside from maybe making some phone calls to some of the folks that have put in and talking to them about some of the other open positions going forward, I think people need to continue throughout the year. If you have a change in your schedule or something else that's come along that gives you an opportunity to serve that maybe you couldn't serve when the traditional time of end of year to submit your name or interest form, there's never a bad time to submit that and to reach out to any of us and to talk about that. So what's also, that's a good thing, but it's also difficult about that is we have a lot of really good people that are applying, and we can't appoint them all. And I think there are some new, we approved restarting the sister city relationships with Verano, and I think we need to get that going. There's some other opportunities like that to serve that maybe we can engage folks in things that aren't quite as obvious. So with that, I'd also say Happy New Year, and thanks everybody for all the effort they put forth in 22.
I'll finally give a closing statement. Basically, 2022 is a very active year. I mean, we've been really busy. I know, Grant, you've been busy, not only training individuals, but also working and implementing a lot of different things and making sure that everybody gets up to speed quickly. I'm looking forward to 2023. I think, again, there's several things on the plate that we can close out that has been long-term standing. Look forward to doing that and moving forward. I think this council has proven that we take things on head-on and find solutions to very hard problems that face us as a town. But I've seen everybody pull together in terms of addressing those issues legislatively through ordinances and changing state requirements, state laws to more reflect fairness within Marion County. And I think we'll continue to do that to make sure that we are well represented at the State House and we can get our fair share of income. I don't think people realize what it takes to run local government. A majority of our budget goes to public safety, in which it should be, but that leaves minimum amount of funds to take care of all the other items that are covered by this town. And so I'm looking forward to 2023, and we'll see what we can get accomplished. Thank you very much. Have a happy new year. We are closed at 6:31. Sorry, David.